Member for Kalani, you are not, you are out of order. Member of Kalani, you are out of order.
House business comes to a standstill today as one member keeps standing.
Plus, hundreds line up waiting for their name to be called with the hopes of a job on the next end.
And Cuban Americans move into day 4 of protesting what they call bad conditions for refugees in the Bahamas. We've got the exclusive story from Miami. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
You are defying the order of this house in so many ways. You are showing utter contempt for this house. Chair will ask for a brief suspension. The House is hereby suspended.
Well, an abrupt end to today's sitting in Parliament as the opposition leader refused to remain silent despite a ruling on Thursday. He had been muzzled last week after refusing to withdraw or provide evidence to support his allegations about a high-ranking official.
Well, the saga continued today with the opposition leader standing to his feet and refusing to obey the Speaker's orders, and this led to the suspension of the House. Carla Palmer witnessed it all.
Just 5 minutes. That's all it took between the time the House of Assembly began and when proceedings suspended. However, in that space of time, enough of a perceived disrespect to the chair of the House had taken place that caused House Speaker the Honorable Dr. Kendall Major to call for an immediate suspension. Here's what happened. Just as the Member of Parliament for Golden Gates, the Honorable Shane Gibson, got up to make his contribution to the Stem Cell Research and Therapy Bill, Opposition Leader the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis stood as well, wanting to speak. The House Speaker told him repeatedly to sit down, and Dr. Minnis refused.
Two members cannot be on their feet at the same time. Member for Kalani, the chair orders you to take your seat. Member for Kalani, you are defying the wishes of the chair. You're being disingenuous. We've had a private meeting. We have an understanding. You are out of order. Member for Kalani, I'm not sure what was planned, what is your strategy, but it does not work. It will not work in here. Take Member for Kalani. I order you to take your seat. The House is hereby suspended.
You may recall that when Parliament met last week, Dr. Minnis made some allegations about Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie regarding his relationship with multi-millionaire and philanthropist Mr. Peter Nygaard, surrounding the stem cell bill now being debated. With Dr. Minnis' refusal to withdraw the allegations, House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major ruled that Dr. Minnis would not be allowed to speak on the House floor until he withdrew his statements. To date, Dr. Minnis has refused. Nevertheless, the House Speaker has since ordered that Dr. Minnis' remarks concerning the Prime Minister and Mr. Nygaard be expunged from House records. Now today, the saga continued. The 10-minute suspension break seemed long as anticipation mounted over what would possibly happen next. And then the House was called back in session. Golden Gates Member of Parliament Shane Gibson attempted to make his contribution once more, but yet again that would not happen. Member of Parliament for Long Island, the Honourable Loretta Butler Turner, stood on a point of order. Unable to even state her case, Government Leader in the House, the Honourable Dr. Bernard Nottage, rose to his feet, making this unplanned and abrupt announcement.
It's been moved and seconded that the business of this House suspends until August 7th, 2013 at 10 a.m.
As quick as it started, House of Assembly proceedings had ended. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
Well, Leader of Government Business in the House, Dr. Bernard Nottage, said he was disappointed in Dr. Minnis' actions.
He said the opposition leader should not have interrupted the Speaker and he should have abided by the rules.
I thought it was regrettable that the Leader of the Opposition chose this morning to disrupt the proceedings of Parliament by insisting on interrupting the member who was scheduled to speak. All of us understand the rules of Parliament, and many of us from time to time fall afoul of the Speaker. But most of us seem to know when it is to draw back and comply with the rules. And when that happens, if the Speaker asks you to withdraw a matter that you cannot confirm, you simply withdraw it. And if you have the evidence to prove what you are saying is true, then you simply present it. Those are your options.
Well, immediately following that adjournment, or that suspension that is, the opposition called a press conference. Andrew Knowles tells us that the opposition leader says he won't be silenced.
Free National Movement supporters standing behind their leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis.
Be for democracy, man. This ain't no stand your ground crap around here.
This as the opposition leader stands firm behind his comments, claiming that the Prime Minister has close ties with lifer key billionaire Peter Nygaard, who has been pushing for stem cell research. Dr. Minnis substantiated his claims on Monday with an affidavit dated April 2, 2012 in the Magistrates Court.
In addition, I am one of the major backers of opposition leader Perry Christie and his PLP party. An election is expected to be held soon. I am a major PLP financial contributor who is associated by the public with the PLP.
The F&M leader says his party remains concerned at the haste in which government is seeking to deal with the complex bill. He says it brings into question the influence Nygaard has on the government's agenda.
Mr. Nygaard is reported to have said that he has already expended some $5 million on the development of stem cell research in the Bahamas. We have no idea how much of that $5 million went to the PLP.
Additionally, Dr. Minnis questioned why he's being asked to withdraw his comments if the Speaker expunged them.
I have no idea how I can withdraw comments that no longer exist.
The House of Assembly is on television all through a session. So although the Speaker would say he took it from the record, the fact is that it was still being published for the general public. Anyone who was watching the proceedings of the House could hear it, and he got up this morning prepared to do the same thing.
And if Dr. Minnis refuses to withdraw the comments, here's what House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major says will happen.
If the member were to return to the House and continue to be obstinate and insistent on doing essentially what he wants, which is anarchy, then of course the member will receive the full brunt of the rules of the House, which obviously would be to be named and to be ordered to be withdrawn from the chamber for a period of time not exceeding 2 sitting days. So that's really where it will eventually get to, but that would be the choice of the honourable member.
Andrew Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Now, PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts says Dr. Minnis ought to be ashamed of himself as his behavior in Parliament today was disgraceful. In a press statement, Roberts says the opposition leader deceptively agreed to abide by the rules. However, Minnis and his cohorts orchestrated what he calls a disgraceful intent with the malicious intent of using Parliament for his public relations stunt. The PLP chairman calls this behavior clownish, saying it sets a bad example for junior members and the public. In light of this, he calls for a House censure of Minnis, saying Minnis was trying to hide behind the cloak of parliamentary privilege and immunity from slander. Mr. Roberts referred to A.D. Hanna and Glenys Hanna Martin, saying they both stood on platforms of principle while protecting the public interest. He feels Dr. Minnis has no such claim as he was playing, and I quote, gutter politics while seeking to injure others.
Well, in other news, as promised, registration started today for the government's National Training Center.
And it's designed to cut down on unemployment by equipping young people with the necessary skills to fill many job opportunities, especially those which will become available through many mega developments like Bahama.
Janine Noel Ferguson tells us that there were some hurdles.
Cassandra Clark graduated from high school more than 3 years ago and has been looking for employment ever since. She now has hope with the government's National Training Agency. Her story is similar to many who showed up to register for the program.
I've been looking for a job for 3 years and I've had no breakthroughs at all. Well, I sell my art online and that's where I get my pocket change from, but I need more substantial money.
Now, dozens of young people gathered at the National Training Center here on Gladstone Road, but they say they were met with a very disorganized process. They're calling on organizers to work it out so that they are able to register and hopefully get a job.
And so we were here like from 7 a.m. this morning, and I just got a call from him saying that they told him to come back. If he doesn't hear his name called by, I think he said 10 or something, that he must come back at 4.
It is completely unorganized and confusing.
Participants huddled in front of the door. At times, someone would push their head out and call a few names.
Shaniqua Stewart.
Some of them shied away from our cameras, but many of them are in support of this program and say that anything that would help is welcomed. For Cassandra Clark, she says this is good news. So you came out here to bring your brother to register?
He graduated from Princeville 2 years ago.
And he hasn't had a job.
And he hasn't worked from since. We need something like this, so that even when they go to the hotels and stuff or wherever jobs they went to, they'll be able to show that they has take a course to get a job.
Now, we attempted to speak with officials at the training agency about the process this morning, but we were told that no one would be available to speak with us at that time. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
In our first look at whether a weak high-pressure system will trigger hot to humid days over the next several days. But outside of our studios just now, we have partly cloudy skies, temperature 84 degrees, your relative humidity 66%. Winds out of the southeast at 6 knots, your barometric pressure 1,019.4 millibars at 30.10 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Palm Beach Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
And coming up, a wife accused of killing her husband could soon learn her fate.
And Cuban protesters in Miami say they are in it for the long haul. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Lux Men's Warehouse.